Welcome to Locked On 49ers post-game rapid react episode. The Niners taking charge of their playoff lives. A huge, massive Week 12 win over the Minnesota Vikings. 34-26. It's massive. Croc and Peacock, we're here to break it all down for you. Game balls, takeaways, key players, key plays from Week 12 coming up.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker here with you. Another Rapid React episode post-game. We're live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching this on video, and a big holler to all the listeners who've been with us for years that are maybe on their way to work Monday morning listening to this audio podcast. Apple, Spotify, everywhere you find podcasts, you can find Locked On 49ers. It's a victory Monday for those of you listening on Monday morning. You got to be feeling good. Croc, you got to be feeling good as well about this win for the 49ers, beating the Vikings and really massively helping their odds at making the playoffs in 2021. 34-26. Are you pumped, Crocky?
I think pumped is an understatement. You know, this was one of those games where you go into it and you feel good about it, and you feel good about where the 49ers are headed. And, you know, they're on a 2-game winning streak. And it's like, all right, this Viking game, it makes it real. And I felt like that was one win that I love to see because of how it went. You came out, you fell behind. You know, you battled back. You reeled off 3 straight touchdowns in like a 4-minute span. You know, you had the missed field goal. You know, you had the interception. So everything wasn't perfect. That was awesome. I saw people tweeting out it felt like a playoff atmosphere. Great win for the 49ers.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are watching to this live stream on YouTube post game, make sure you hit a subscribe, hit the bell so you know when a new episode is coming, and hang out a little bit afterwards. We might do a little Q&A and holler at you. I see all the chats in here. I see all the folks that are joining into the live stream, and I love all of you for it. And those of you who just listen to audio, that's cool too. But if you want to check out the YouTube channel, we have launched it this week. We're almost up to 1,000 subscribers already, trying to get over that 1K on this episode too. So we're pumped for it. Pumped for the new channel. Pumped for this version of the 49ers the last 3 weeks. This looks like a different team. They're ready to go. They're ready to make some noise in the playoffs. And hey, Crocky, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Niners are just, creeping up to that 6th seed now in the playoff picture, the wild card playoff seeding. But the Rams losing to the Packers Sunday, only game out of the 5th seed too. So why not leapfrog those Rams, right? Who the 49ers have already proven they can beat a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so technically the 49ers are a half game behind the LA Rams. And again, I think if you had asked us this question a few weeks ago, we'd be in this position right now. Most people would say no, 49ers would not be in this situation, but they're hot right now. And I said it, man. I talked about it with my guy, Will Blackman, right? Remember that conversation about those the New York Giants who won the Super Bowl and how they kind of backed into the playoffs. They had a streak of 4 straight losses at one point in that year, late in that year. And we asked, what brought that together? And it was like, man, the leadership. So now you look at the 49ers, they had that meeting, the defensive meeting and all that with Fred Warner leading it. And since then, the 49ers have just kind of, they look like what we expected them to look like early on. This was a really good win.
We got to start with the quarterbacks, and Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins. If they swapped uniforms, I don't know if you've been able to tell them apart with the way this game ended. It started kind of ugly for Jimmy G. Out of the gate, throwing high. He was off on 3 of his first 4 passes, started with the interception, and that was the nightmare scenario that I talked about all week that I was worried about. Can the 49ers come back from an early deficit? And the Vikings did take that 7-0 deficit, and Kirk Cousins was a little bit sharper earlier. And I thought it was really interesting after that drive, after the Niners got the ball back and they were down 7-0, they didn't panic. They didn't go to aerial attack mode. Kyle Shanahan, and really a lot of it looked like the last time they played the Vikings in January of 2020 in that wild card playoff game, oddly enough. And who knows, maybe they're on a collision course for another one of those games in the playoffs coming up, because I still think the Minnesota Vikings have an opportunity against some of those teams to get that 7 seed still. I mean, the 6th seed's not we're not out of the woods yet with that 6th seed either, but to come back, and they went heavy with the ground game again. And Jimmy did make one throw on that drive, but it was mostly on the ground. And all of a sudden it was ground and pound from then on out. A whole lot of Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries for 133 yards coming off his finger and ribs pregame. Croc, we talked about it. And I said, look, probably won't be a lot of Sermon in this game. And Sermon did get hurt in this game, which added to it. But I said, look, if Mitchell's ready, Shanahan's going to lean on him. When guys are in the game, he uses them as much as he can. And boy, did he. 27 carries. They didn't get to that 40 carry mark. They got to 39. 3 of those from Jimmy G, 1 for Ayuk, 2 for Wilson only, which surprised me. 27 for Elijah Mitchell and 6 for Deebo Samuel. We'll get to more of that stuff and Mitchell and Deebo and all of that. But it's all to say, Kyle did kind of coach a little bit scared of Jimmy G, especially in the first half after that interception. Kyle was chewing his ass out on the sideline. Did you see that clip? He was not happy with Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo was not happy with himself, pretty frustrated there. But I thought Jimmy came back well. He was like 2 of 8 passing or some point in the first quarter. And he ended up being 17 of 26 for 230 yards. Not great, but not as bad as it started. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. He threw some darts later in the game, a nice throw to Ayuk over the middle of the field. He threw a nice ball to the deep to the sideline to Jennings. Jennings didn't get his feet in bounds in the end zone, but I thought that was a nice throw. And in the fourth quarter, made a couple of really good throws. One to who I don't know, it was a couple in a row in the fourth quarter. There was a slant with a good catch from Sherfield. There was another throw there right after that. Juszczyk. Yeah, it was Juice at the end of the game as they were trying to seal that one. So I thought Jimmy responded well and at least finished the game better than he started.
Yeah, definitely. He came out and he was kind of missing high on some throws. And I saw a lot of people, they were upset about that. And my thing is, I don't get upset about it because I just know who Jimmy Garoppolo is. And there's going to be times where he goes through these little lows of missing passes. And the issue with Jimmy Garoppolo is there's no like change up with him. There's no curveball. So it's like if he's missing throws like that, it just kind of is what it is. Luckily, he was able to kind of snap out of it. I was wondering from Kyle Shanahan's standpoint, what would be the change up with him? Like, how does he potentially play around what we're seeing from Jimmy early on? And, he just stuck with the run game, stuck with his plan. He threw one out-breaking route. It was like a 5-yard out, maybe on third down. He was late, ended up kind of floating out there. It was behind George Kittle. I'm like, that's not ideal. But I thought Jimmy came back strong. And there were a lot of people like, Trey Lance needs to come in. I'm like, this is not a Trey Lance time right now. Like, we have a guy who's having a slow start to a half. I thought he finished strong. And I thought from that drive on, Jimmy definitely played more than well enough to just be able to win the game.
Absolutely. Seeing more and more people pour into the live stream. Love seeing that. Shout out to everybody out there. Kirk Cousins, he kind of turned into Jimmy late, and that's what I was talking about with them looking very similar. He threw a bad interception underneath. And look, I did say this week that if Jimmy Garoppolo throws an interception to Eric Kendricks, that's going to be a bad sign. Then the Vikings are going to win this game. And Jimmy threw an interception, but it was to Harrison Smith. So that's why the 49ers were still able to win this game. But it was Cousins who threw the ball to the 49ers linebackers. It was Azeez Al-Shaair who got the interception there. And then Cousins late in the game. Like, there's something to the Cousins not being a big game quarterback, right? Because even at the end of the game, felt like he wilted a little bit. He bounced one to Justin Jefferson on the 2-point conversion. Couldn't get him lined up at the goal line and tried to take a snap from under the guard. He was lined up behind the center. Running back came over, tapped him, said, "Get over." They had to call a timeout anyway. And it's happened too many times. It does feel like Cousins kind of falls apart in some of the big moments.
Definitely. I mean, that's just kind of who he is. And a lot of people are just about the situation and, been there, done that before him. For whatever reason, there must be some kind of something that just pops in his head from like just a bad time in his life or something where he starts thinking about that when the game is tight and he's like, oh no, not again. And he just starts throwing some wild passes.
Family board game night, and it comes to crunch time, and dad puts him in jail at Monopoly, and it just all comes flooding back in the middle of the game in big moments.
Yeah, it's a traumatic experience for him. That one hop on the 2-point conversion, Jefferson was like, bro, what the hell?
Oh, he was so mad. That's one of my favorite things is watching wide receiver quarterback reactions, because you always know who is at fault. And that was one where it's like, no, it wasn't a miscommunication. He just literally tried to throw a bounce pass to him there. That was a bad look. Justin Jefferson not happy. Justin Jefferson looked pretty dejected on the sideline too, as did Adam Thielen and a lot of the offense late, because they saw what was happening on the field and realized we can't stop the 49ers offense right now. And they're going to run out the clock. They're going to score again, probably win this football game. And Robbie Gould ended up giving him just that little opportunity by missing the field goal, but it was not to be. The 49ers handling the Minnesota Vikings, improving to 6-5 now on the year, in control of that 6th seed in the wild card playoffs. 34-26. More reaction here from Croc and I as we continue the ground game. We'll give out some game balls in this game. Got to get Croc's thoughts on the 49ers defensive backs as well. But I want to let you guys know about Directv Stream. Does this sound familiar? You are. And look, I went through it today. I went through it a lot in my in-laws' house trying to figure out what to watch and what device to watch things on over the holidays. You got one device that lets you catch a game live, another that you stream your favorite shows on, maybe. Then you've got a little, tablet over here, another device you're watching highlights. You've got everything going on. You've got some friend of a friend's login to get into half of these devices. Well, I want to tell you about a simpler way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together, and that is called Directv Stream. I know Directv is familiar, but this is Directv Stream. Nothing on top of your house. You stream everything to your TV, to your tablet, to your phone, to whatever device you want to use, and no more buying new devices just for your TV enjoyment. Directv Stream brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch all of your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. And best part, no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with Directv Stream. You can learn more at directv.com. That's directv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Deebo Samuel, Crocky. By the way, I am Brian Peacock. That is Eric Crocker at BD Peacock on Twitter, at Eric_Crocker. Deebo Samuel, another game. He's a magic man. He's more running back than wide receiver at this point, which is awesome. It's amazing what he's able to do. Also scary when you see him go down with an injury, because running backs get hurt. If there's anything I've learned covering football, it's that running backs not get hurt a lot. They will get hurt. It's a 100% injury rate for running backs. That's why I don't like seeing Deebo Samuel 8, 10, 12 times lined up in the backfield in the game. I like those 1 or 2 nice little plays to him, but let him play wide receiver. So that does worry me a little bit, his usage there. And maybe it caught up to him in this game. And luckily it wasn't a knee injury, but you see him crumple and collapse. You get really worried. It is a groin injury. He was questionable to return, did not come back into the game. We'll find out more later. I'm sure they'll have imaging and all that stuff, and we'll have updates on that Monday and Tuesday this week to figure out where Deebo Samuel is. Maybe he misses a couple weeks. Maybe he'll be right back in it next week against the Seahawks. But man, again, another effort for Deebo where he had more work in the ground game than as a receiver. And he only had 1 catch for 12 yards, did get over 1,000 yards receiving on the year, by the way, which is amazing. You see the stat come up on the screen and you see his name with the likes of Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens, and he's the 3rd 49ers wide receiver to get 1,000 yards in only 11 games. It's pretty amazing. But the story is his 6 carries for 66 yards. The dude's a monster. He's averaging over 10 yards per carry. I don't even know what his season average is right now, but I think it was already close or over 10 yards per carry. And he's taking carries out of the backfield too. This isn't like screen passes or something where he's already out in space. 2 touchdowns on the ground. Can you explain to me how Deebo has this magic ability to always find the corner?
You know what? I think he's just faster than people think. A lot of times when you see guys just consistently being able to get around the corner, and then how he can like get upfield and he's kind of outrunning angles. I think Deebo Samuel is fast, which he ran a fast 40 time. I mean, he was a legit combine 4.48 guy. So like you're moving. If we're talking about him running at his pro day, I mean, that's a low 4.4 type guy, 4.41, 4.42. So Deebo has real speed. And I think when he puts his foot in the ground and gets north, you're able to see that. And we've seen it on several occasions, him catching crossing routes and scoring and outrunning defenses. But I think because of how he looks, and it just doesn't like look fast, people don't think he's that type of speedster. But man, you start looking at how he's kind of breaking angles and making it tough to tackle him in the open field. Dude can run. It's tough though that they're using him so much as a running back because, like you said, there is a lot of wear and tear there. But when you look at it from Kyle Shanahan's standpoint, he's probably saying like, look, he's my best football player. I want to just get the ball in his hand any way possible. And he's doing that, and he's getting really good results in doing it. Like, how do you just say, you know what? Even though he's averaging 10 yards a carry and he has 5 rushing touchdowns, I'm just not going to run the ball with him. Like, you just can't do that. On top of that, he's a 1,000-yard receiver as well. I don't know what you do.
And if you ask Kyle Shanahan on a Wednesday, he'd probably tell you, I don't want to give Deebo Samuel that many running back carries. But then in the middle of a Sunday, Kyle Shanahan's trying to win a football game, and that's his best weapon. So you've got to utilize him. So that's a tough place to be in for the coach. And so 33 total touches there on the ground for Samuel and Mitchell combined. Then that was just rushing attempts. Then another 4 targets, 1 catch for Deebo, and Mitchell had 5 receptions, which I think is his biggest output as far as receptions go in a game. Jimmy did miss him one time pretty bad over the middle, but 35 yards receiving as well for Elijah Mitchell. So just huge output for those 2 guys. How about this one? Brandon Ayuk, 3 catches for 91, had the 37-yarder. So all 3 catches were pretty big. But Ayuk getting a little scrappy in this game. There was some back and forth with those DBs from the Vikings. I kind of like seeing that from Ayuk. Get him fired up and get him going.
I like it. And I'm pretty sure Kyle likes it, right? Like, that's the type of guy that Kyle Shanahan likes. And I think, seeing that fire, and a lot of times when we saw him getting into it with these guys, it's not after a catch or after a pass breakup or something like that. It's in the run game. It's with him blocking and him getting in the mix with guys. Then I saw him mouthing off to Sheldon Richardson, that was my guy on the Jets. We were rookies together. So, it's good to see Sheldon still playing, doing his freakish thing that he did, as a rookie and everything. But watching the Ayuk, man, like, that's the Shanahan mentality. Maybe Shanahan did everything he could to get that out of him. And now we're seeing it, and it's resulting in positive plays. Now, if we can only get Jimmy Garoppolo to just kind of keep the ball down a little bit, man, so my guy can get catches, because I saw the halftime stat, 2 receptions on 6 targets, and it had a nice gain. I think it was like 61 yards. But shoot, some of those passes, they come down a little bit. I mean, we're talking about a 100-yard game easily.
Yeah, a little run after the catch action, and Jimmy was clearly off at the beginning of the game. I did like how he rebounded. He did make some nice throws, including that one over the middle of the field between 3 defenders there to Brandon Ayuk. Worried at all about the George Kittle usage? Only 1 catch in this game, 2 targets. He was just it was all about his blocking ability in this game.
I think if you ask George Kittle, he's probably fine with it. But again, he's in that mode of Deebo Samuel where it's like, man, you want to get the ball in his hands any way possible. And finally, they threw a screen to him, got some positive plays, got close for the 49ers to, I believe I think they scored on that drive, I believe. Or was that when Kyle Juszczyk tried to jump over 10 people?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Juszczyk. I don't know where you think you're going on that play. First of all, you're a fullback, so make sure you look at the depth chart before you attempt a play like that. But also, we're going to fly over 3 guys and then fly 5 yards further into the end zone. Like, there's nowhere to go for him. Feeling himself a little bit extra, but yeah, whatever. I think he hurt the Vikings players in the process.
Hey, real quick, one thing that I do want to address, because I saw it in the comments here where people were saying, Croc, you were saying this in the preseason about the biomechanics of how Deebo Samuel runs and how that could lead to those soft tissue injuries. And it's not me that said, it's my guy told me that, and he's someone that pays attention to how people run and the biomechanics of that and how certain people run and how it leads to injuries. And he told me, he said, man, at some point Deebo's going to have a growing injury, and he showed me why. He talked about it. We got to have him on the show at some point. But see Deebo now have that soft tissue injury, which I believe he did early on too, but it wasn't something that ended up keeping him out of a game. He might just consistently have those issues. And that's tough when you're leaning on him so much to be such a big part of your offense.
Okay, we've got to get into the defensive side of the ball here, and we've got to give out some game balls, and we'll hang out after the official podcast is over and continue doing the YouTube live thing and get into some of these comments, because I see a lot of you in the chat and having a bunch of fun, and I want to get involved in that as well. Some more Locked On 49ers with P. Croc coming up. How about this, though? Built Bar. Cyber Monday special is here. The best Monday of the year, Cyber Monday, and Built.com is the place to aim your mouse. Get at least 20% off everything delicious and healthy. That's 20% off site-wide at Built.com, and even bigger discounts on Built Boost, Built Broth, and other Built swag you can find at Built.com. A brand new Built Bar flavor has just landed as well. Cyber Monday, Caramel Almond Delight. They've been running through a ton of new flavors in the whole entire month of November. It's been a lot of fun. I've got a couple here, actually. A little Ruby chocolate puff going on. But this Caramel Almond Delight, it's only available Monday, and I can't wait to try that one. Caramelized chocolate, check. Almonds, check. Delightful, double check. Be sure to get yours before they're gone. 150 calories in that bar and 17 grams of protein. That's the best thing about Built Bars. They are good for you. They are healthy for you. You've got a lot of protein and just a little bit of calories and a little bit of sugar, the way you want your snacks to be. They've also got a white chocolate cheesecake coming as well. They got a lemon cheesecake puff going over there, only 140 calories in the white chocolate cheesecake. 'Tis the season to save and give your taste buds the gift of Built Bar. Go to Built.com for these incredible tasting new bars and 20% off everything. Head to Built.com. Enter LOCKED20. That's promo code LOCKED20 at Built.com before it's too late. I hope everybody didn't jump into the sports books and bet the under like Croc and I told you. Maybe it wasn't Croc so much, but it was me that told you to do. The over-under was 49. I felt like was going to go under that. I believe there was the question about under for passing yards for Kirk Cousins, and that under did hit. So we were 50-50 on that one. But things
real quick.
Yeah.
If we're talking about over-unders, I do some over-under stuff for Lines Sports, and they pay me to do that. But I talked about this game a little bit. I said Justin Jefferson, his over-under was 87.5 yards. I said take the under on that, but I said take the over on Thielen's 59.5. So if you guys don't follow Line Sports, you would have, or if you do, you would have seen me say that, and I hit on both of those. Also hit on the over on Devontae Adams. I talked about taking the over on his yardage. He went over 100. So I'm pretty much on fire. Yep.
Did you have an over on Juice yards too that I think hit with the big one, or was that?
I took that in a underdog fantasy parlay. Okay. And yeah, his over under. I mean, it was 7.5 yards. I said I'm taking that. Just give me one catch, Juice.
I like that. Well done there. Let's start with the defensive backs here, and I already know you got something to say about the Josh Norman pass interference penalty on Justin Jefferson down the left sideline. What did you see about that? Was it maybe something earlier? Because from what I saw, there was a little push off from Justin Jefferson. Maybe there was some and there was some grabbing all game long from Josh Norman. Maybe there was a little bit on that play, but that was one where I thought, that one, I don't think the flag needs to fly on that one. And like you said, Vikings getting bailed out with those calls.
They called it early in the route when first Justin Jefferson was going out. And then when he started to do kind of like a scramble drill and he cut up, there was literally a slight touch. And y'all know me, man. I know I defend defensive backs, but I'll keep it real. If it's legitimately a flag, I'll say it. Just like I said, Kwan Williams, that was a flag. That was pass interference on Kwan Williams. He got there early. They didn't call it, whatever. But that's my issue with people talking about a guy not being able to cover or whatever because they get pass interference calls. They're not really consistent with how they call it. So I don't knock guys on it. So when I saw the normal one, I said, man, that's BS. To me, that wasn't a foul. Did he touch a guy? Yes. Was it something that impeded any type of progress? No, not at all. So they didn't call PI at the catch point. It was earlier in the route.
My problem with any and all PIs pretty much in the NFL is they don't call the offensive player almost ever for the same style of ticky-tack stuff that they'll call the DB for. They do call some offensive PI, but not nearly as much as DBs. So, and the other thing is you can't reward the offense for a bad throw and an underthrown ball. I feel like the defender needs to have an opportunity to own the ground that he's already gained on the receiver. So if you underthrow it and you bump into me because you're trying to come back, too bad. I've already earned this ground. You should be able to come back through the DB, just like a DB can't go through a receiver.
Well, the Cowboys lost on a penalty like that with Anthony Brown, which he got flagged 4 times in the game, man. I mean, you guys want to talk about defensive backs getting flagged? Go watch the Cowboys because Trevon Diggs, I believe he leads all defensive backs in penalties. He also has given up the most yards in the NFL, but he has 8 takeaways, which leads me to my next point about Josh Norman. And I put it out there. And when I talked about him punching the ball out, a lot of responses I got were, well, only if he punched out passes that come towards him, or only if he would, cover as well as he punches passes out. But my thing is, man, like at the end of the day in the NFL, it's really hard to cover. If I'm going to give up yards, at least let me do something positive like force takeaways, which to me, I'd rather, if you're going to give up a 15-yard catch, but then you force a takeaway, give me that. I'll take that. So I can live with the occasional weird things from Josh Norman if he's consistently giving the 49ers an opportunity to get the ball back, which he did there in the red zone. 49ers just didn't capitalize on it. 7 forced fumbles from Josh Norman on the year. That is extremely impressive. Now, again, you look at what Diggs has done, and people are going to be really high on Diggs, and they're talking about him because he has, 8 interceptions, which is awesome. But I feel like what Josh Norman is doing, I don't want to say is equally as impressive, but is pretty darn close, in my opinion, with how you are affecting a game.
And they keep trying Trayvon Diggs. That's why he's got so many interceptions, because they know there's yards there, so they keep throwing to him. So he does make some big plays, and those are impactful, and those are really helpful, and they've helped that Cowboys defense a lot. But he's also a player that they're not afraid to target because he's beatable too. So it's a lot of all or nothing with a guy like Trayvon Diggs.
And my thing with not with so much with Diggs, but with Josh Norman, like, what's the alternative? Do you say, all right, he gets flagged here and there, or he gives up a catch here and there, so let's take him out, and we're gonna play maybe a Diamador Lenore who probably is gonna give up catches as well, maybe doesn't get flagged, but he's also not giving you the opportunity to generate takeaways. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take what Norman is giving me, because when you need it, that it's gonna change a game in a positive way. But at the end of the day, you look at how teams are doing it. 49ers held Cousins to his under. So it's not like the secondary is just like so suspect, like they just got lit up all game by Kirk Cousins. I think they did well. And I'll take what we got there, because at some point it's going to happen, whether it's to Norman or anybody else. Just like it was, I think Jimmy Garoppolo had a better game than the opposing secondary, but nobody's going to talk about Cam Dantzler and Rashard Breeland or anybody else that's out there.
Breeland had a nice play on Deebo where Deebo became the DB, batting a ball away on another deep ball to the sideline. So Jimmy trying a few deep sideline throws, which was nice to see. And the Niners did get away with the call with the K'Wan Williams, because he did come across, was that KJ Osborne? Yeah, in the fourth quarter. And there was a no flag, no call on that one. So, you win some, you lose some when it comes to referees in the NFL. Croc, we have got to get to our game balls here. Is there anybody jumping out to you that you want to give a game ball to first before we get out of here? And by the way, everyone hang out, because if you're watching on the YouTube live, we're gonna hang out and chat with you and hit some Q&A and just talk ball for a little bit longer after the official podcast is over. Game balls, yes. Crocky.
So first game ball, Elijah Mitchell, 133 yards rushing. Like you said, chipped in with another 30-something yards receiving. I thought he caught the ball well when it wasn't, 10 feet high in the air, about to go over his head. He ran in for a touchdown. He just runs so strong. He runs so strong. I think his vision is improving each game. I'm watching him look more comfortable. We talked about the Bears game where he had a big game on the ground in that game. I think 137-something yards. But even then, I was like, man, there's some runs you can see just kind of leaving runs out there. I don't see that now. Like, I feel like when there are opportunities for him to cut back and see something and get a big gain out of it, he's doing it. So really love what he's doing. Probably because he's a 6th-round pick, people aren't talking about it, but he's the best rookie running back in the NFL. And I believe I did the numbers here, and we'll talk about where he's at right now, but he's almost at 700 yards rushing with 6 games left, and he missed 3 games. I mean, there's a potential opportunity for him to be really hovering around 1,000 yards at this point with 6 games left. And, we're talking about a 1,400-yard back. So that's the type of pace he's on right now and how well he's doing. If they continue to add that receiving aspect to it, come on now. So a big game by him. He definitely gets the first game ball.
And he belongs in the Rookie of the Year conversation when you start looking at it like that. But there's going to be some of those. There's too many quarterbacks. Mac Jones might have that locked up already with the Patriots.
Jamar Chase.
And then there's the first round receivers, and Waddle had a big game, and Jamar Chase started off so hot at the beginning of the year, and there's Kyle Pitts. So probably not that much of a chance that, and Najee Harris has been the number one guy in Pittsburgh all year long. He's getting a ton of carries. So probably not much of a chance that Elijah Mitchell will get it, but we might be talking about a 1,000-yard rookie running back, and he should be in the conversation, even though he might not be. But on the same point of the running game, I think you got to give a game ball to the offensive line. These dudes were awesome up front. The 49ers was one of the biggest keys to winning this game, and we haven't really talked about it yet, but the 49ers dominated up front with their offensive line against the Vikings front, and that was massive. That was one of the most important things they had to do in this game, and they handled their business up front. So I think you give 5 of them, to one for every offensive lineman in this game. A couple of penalties for Laken Tomlinson. Didn't like seeing those, but overall, the offensive line played awesome. So yeah, give them all.
They were both. I saw them on one. It was like he kind of like grabbed him, but he had his hands inside. One hand slipped outside, and he took him to the ground. So really, it looked like more like a pancake. And I think even they were like, really on both of them. They were kind of ticky-tacky. I've seen worse holding calls on guys. It wasn't like he was holding to, or no, one of them was. Where like, yeah, he kind of held the guy. Nah, then he let go. Yeah, I think they were both ticky-tack. I think they were both bad. Like,
it's funny.
Not great calls.
On the second one, they showed a slow motion replay, and he kind of ended up pancaking the guy. But then you saw, I think it must have been Alex Mack right next to him. He was definitely holding his guy. He had his arm way out here, was holding on to the guy's jersey from underneath, and they didn't call that. But maybe the call was supposed to be on 50 instead of 75 on that play even. I don't know, because that would have made actually more sense. So again, you get away with one, you get flagged on the other. You can probably call holding or PI on just about every play, which is kind of frustrating when they decide to do it and when they decide not to throw the flag. But offensive line dominated, I think, in this game, and they deserve game balls. I got a couple more game balls to give out. I think, Deebo Samuel gets a game ball for sure, right? No question.
Right. What, for like the 6th straight week?
Dude, I think he's got at least 10 of 11 game balls right now. It feels like.
Yeah. We got to name the game ball award the Deebo award or something.
Yeah. Like. The Deebo Samuel Deebo Samuel game ball award. How about on the defensive side of the ball? I almost want to give one to Mosley. I thought he was awesome. I thought he played.
Mosley is a good corner. We talked about. Did we not bring it up this morning when we did the preview show? We talked about how well he's playing, and you said he might be one of the more underrated corners in the NFL.
Nobody talks about Emmanuel Mosley. You're talking about the better corners in the NFL, and he's really good. I'm impressed with him and get more impressed with him every single week. And he had a pretty good game in this one as well.
Undrafted rookie free agent.
Bosa was the only sack of the game for the 49ers defense. They did not pressure Kirk Cousins all that much. But again, the guy that did it was Bosa. He had a sack there. He got hit by Abucom. Man, Abucom just hasn't brought much to the table for the 49ers. His biggest hit of the year has been on his own teammate and knocked Bosa out of the game for a short time. But luckily, Bosa came back. He did get a sack. He might have been slowed a little bit from that injury. I don't know if it's game ball worthy. I feel like Bosa almost has to go above and beyond to do something extra special. Has to get at least 2 sacks to get a game ball these days. But the defense played pretty well. Held Minnesota to 26 points. They stopped them in the end. Do you give a game ball to Al-Shaair for just being in the right place and not dropping the interception?
Yeah, real quick, I do want to talk about the defensive line. Although they didn't really get there consistently, I thought there were a good amount of times where even on key downs, they collapsed the pocket. And I thought Kirk Cousins sometimes just did a good job beating it, but it wasn't pretty all the time right there in the pocket. I thought they did a good job of kind of collapsing it.
And the front seven did a good job against the run too. Even, before the injury, Dalvin Cook, it was 10 rushes for 39 yards. And all of that came on one play where he had a
run. Yeah.
Yeah. So the defense did a really good job against the run and making the Vikings one-dimensional and put it all the weight on Kirk Cousins' shoulders, and he ended up folding under that weight. So just a fantastic win all around for the San Francisco 49ers in Week 12, firmly in that playoff picture now with 5-6 games to go at 6-5 and some winnable games, including those Seattle Seahawks next week in Seattle. That will be a fun game. Croc and I, as always, will have you covered as we do every day. Thanks for making us your first listen right here on Locked On 49ers. Stick around if you're on the YouTube live stream. We're going to hang out and chat with you there. If you are on the audio podcast, thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow right here. Locked On 49ers. All right.
Right.
We got so much going on in the chat here. I don't
Let's
know.
go.
This is where we're going. We're going to start here. Swaggy Crocky.
It's the specs. I don't know.
No, okay. Nobody likes my swag. Nobody likes my red hoodie, huh? Okay, that's cool.
You gotta
My
get you a gold
locked on.
chain with your
I
number
got
on it.
double locked on. I got locked on here. I got locked on up here. I don't have a chain. I almost bought the Deebo chain last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, and I was
Yeah.
really excited about that. That was the Monday Night Football game, right? But yeah. Anyway, how about this
Hey,
one?
we got through a whole podcast. I don't think we mentioned Trey Lance.
We didn't.
Not one
Because the
mention.
Niners are winning and he didn't show up on the field. He has his helmet on like he's ready. And like I think he's got to be ready because Kyle might call a play or a package and he's got to run in the game. But I always see him on the sideline, and a lot of backup quarterbacks don't have helmets on. They've got headset on or something like that. I'm always like, oh man, I wonder if he's about to go in. But I think he just always kind of has to be ready. Shouldn't he be listening on the headset though? Isn't that better
He
for a young
probably is
quarterback
still.
to hear the calls?
He has I'm pretty sure he has a green dot on his
Oh
helmet. I
yeah,
bet he can hear
I bet he
everything
can
that's
hear.
going on. Yeah.
You're right.
A lot of times I'll see him next to the quarterback coach. He'll hear something, he'll say something to him. He's looking at his play call sheet. So he's engaged. He's engaged with what's going on.
How about Pat Pete? Is he washed?
I didn't think so. I mean, I think they called a penalty on him, but right, one maybe. But I didn't see anything that was just like, damn, he can't cover.
He's no more washed than Norman.
Yeah,
Norman,
and
I
I'm
mean,
pretty
I
sure
will
we
say
probably
this
said
for Norman. Norman's not moving great, and that is a pretty big mismatch with Justin Jefferson on him. And he tries to get up and get his hands on him, and it's almost like Justin Jefferson's a ghost. He can't get him, and then he's just turning and hold him like he's Santa holding his sleigh, and Jefferson's one of his reindeer. You know that? I mean, there was a couple plays that looked pretty bad. So I
real
could see
quick.
why someone watching the game would see Norman and be like, "Oh my God, Norman's terrible. He's washed. Get him off the field." But overall,
I'll say this, man. Look, that's one of the hardest routes to defend. So if you get beat off the line right now, which he did, got beat off the line. So once you get beat off the line, your time clock it's going already, right? And then when you get beat on an inside release, in your head, your clock is telling you in breaking route. So when you're kind of thinking in breaking route, you're already beat, you're in trail, your technique is out the window, and you're thinking in breaking route, and he does an inside release to do an outbreaking route. That's extremely difficult to defend. It's hard to defend for anybody, but definitely even harder when you get beat at the line of scrimmage.
Jimmy G not folding under pressure. Jimmy's pretty. I mean, he's had some bad games in the playoffs. He did try to throw multiple interceptions to the Vikings in the playoffs last time they played. Didn't get a chance to throw much against the Packers, and then missed some throws in the Super Bowl. So I don't know if we want to call him big game Jimmy or anything like that, but he seems like a gamer for the most part. I don't know if there's anything to it with Kirk Cousins. I think it was just one of those games for him. And I think people want more from both of these quarterbacks so much, and there's just a limit to the type of plays they're going to make, and I think that disappoints fans in some big games. They want their quarterback to be a superhero and take a game over and go win it. And I just don't know if either one of these quarterbacks are that.
That's just not them. And the crazy thing is because sometimes it's what you don't see, right? And we don't notice it, but just the inability to make a play with their legs. Right, like Jimmy Garoppolo. There was one time where the pocket kind of flushed him to the right, and he just falls on the ground. Maybe he got tripped up, I don't know, but he just fell. And it's just like, when you do have a guy, again, being able to run is not everything, but there's times where you kind of need it, and that was a time where it's like, man, somebody that is able to move, able to run a little bit, he can get out of there and potentially either run for a first down, or the thing that we don't see from the 49ers quarterback, but press up in the pocket, you see a guy get open late downfield and him be able to throw that. Like that's just not going to be part of Jimmy Garoppolo's game. And that's why sometimes you do look for more in a quarterback. I do think that Jimmy Garoppolo did a really good job of just doing the things that you expect him to do, right? Obviously, early on, he started off a little weird, but he settled down and it was just, okay, that's Jimmy. And there's not much more to Jimmy than what we're seeing.
Yeah, we know Jimmy so well now. And so I don't think any of this should really surprise anybody that he's plays a winning brand of football when there's a ground game and the defense is playing pretty well. He'll make some head scratching throws sometimes, but he'll make some good throws and he'll throw some darts as well. And he displayed all of it in this game. Here's a good one. Yeah, we didn't talk about Givens in the game balls, but that was a huge play with the fumble. Amenahu too, yeah. Amenahu is sighting. That's the first time I've heard his name in a 49ers
I
uniform.
was like, who the
Maybe
hell is number 92? Now I'm like, oh, buddy from the Texans.
dude, he looks
Got
like
to the trade deadline.
he looks like Eric Armstead's twin. They're 91 and 92. They're the same height. They're taller than everybody else. They're kind of built the same, where they're long but kind of heavy in the middle still, but not like heavy like a wide nose tackle heavy, but they're heavy because they're big, but they're, I don't know. They're both built similarly with long limbs and tall. That was an interesting play call too. And I just don't like that design at all from the Vikings, because Amenahu was unblocked on that tackle for loss when he hit Dalvin Cook in the backfield, but he was purposely not blocked because he's the end and you're supposed to respect the
quarterback.
The quarterback
just did not.
Nobody's worried about Kirk Cousins taking off right out the back door. I mean, he
Cousins
could, but
move a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not like you're playing against Lamar or Trey Lance or Kyler Murray or any of those guys.
Yeah, but
it's not the type of play that's really going to, like, I'll put it this way. You can run it and you hope that person stays home, and that's the idea, is you're blocking a player with a quarterback. But a lot of times a team's not going to respect it against someone like Kirk Cousins. But maybe you learn from that and you let Cousins run with it next time when Amenahu's in the game, because obviously he didn't give a care in the world about if Cousins was going to take off with that ball.
Well, you got to come back to that, right? Like, you have to go back to that at some point in the game, and they didn't. It was 3rd and short. I definitely thought that was an opportunity for him to keep. He can pick up 4 yards on the keeper.
Oh yeah, he definitely could too. And and those are some of the best plays. Who was it? Was it like Gus Frerotte or somebody? Way back in the 90s, there was that one play that was the naked bootleg, and someone ran like 90 yards. That was not an athletic quarterback, but they just left him and forgot about him. And he was wide open by himself running down the field, and nobody even took a peek at him because they didn't think he would run the ball.
Was that the play where Frerotte banged his head on the wall and got a concussion?
I don't think so. Someone else was asking me on Twitter about Kirk Cousins lined up behind the guard. And if I remember a play with that happened, I think, and I was thinking maybe that was Gus Frerotte too. I think maybe just all the boneheaded plays, I think of Gus Frerotte for some reason, and maybe he wasn't that bad, and he wasn't. It might have.
Someone said Rich Gannon.
Oh, Gannon. Was it Gannon?
I don't know. We gotta look up what Rich Gannon's longest run is.
Hey, that's lining up. Though. You would respect Gannon as a runner, though.
Lining up over the guard. I was thinking maybe direct snap, but nah.
Yeah, like maybe it was on purpose, but it wasn't, because the running back came up and was like, "Hey, dude, get over. What are you doing?" Bono. It was Bono.
Oh wow, Steve Bono
with the long run.
Okay, now we're just naming all the old like unathletic quarterbacks.
Nah, Gannon can run, man. Gannon.
Elvis Gerbach.
Here we go.
Or Peyton Manning. Remember when Peyton Manning did the naked? Now it wasn't 90 yards, but it was like 10 yards. It felt like it was 90 yards because it took him so long to get to the end zone. But he did it naked one time, and I was like, damn, it's taking him hell long to score.
Juwan Jennings, he had a fantastic game. Wasn't huge in the stat book, in the box score, but almost pulled down that touchdown. He had a nice tough catch in traffic, which is something he's good at doing. So,
his swag is so nice.
Good blocker. Oh, how about that? He was the one throwing the ball on that trick play, and then the Vikings ran the Niners same play, and it worked for the Vikings, but not for the Niners. Wasn't it the same play, just reversed, right? Because the wide receiver gets the ball, throws it back across the field to the running back, and that's what they were trying to. So the Niners are trying to set up. I wonder if play callers do that to each other, and like after the game they have a chuckle. Like Clint Kubiak texts Shanahan, he's like, "Haha, we got you on your own play." I wonder if they have those relationships behind the scenes, because I know I would totally.
Kubiak still the OC?
Clint Kubiak, Gary's kid. Clint.
Okay.
I think the offensive coordinator for the Vikings.
It's all the same tree.
It's all the same stuff. Yeah. You don't think that Diamador Lenore should be playing, Croc?
It's kind of the Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance thing, where it's like, Jimmy, and obviously we can see where he's limited, right? But his play is still leading to wins. So you don't just pull him for the young guy. And I think that's the same thing for Josh Norman, someone who, again, we talked about it, forced 7 fumbles. And I don't even think he played in the first 2 weeks or whatever, right? No, he did play against Philly, but he's missed some time. He still forced 7 fumbles, and he's had some lapse in coverages, but I think you kind of live with it. Now, if he's just getting like dogged, which we haven't seen him just get picked on, and we know what that looks like when we've saw with Akilla Witherspoon in a couple of games. One game with the Lions comes to mind where they just targeted him like 10 times. We've seen it with the Brian Allen guy, I believe his name was, or whatever,
Yeah,
that
brought him in
played
for
against the
one.
Dolphins.
Yeah,
We're
brought him in
not
for one
seeing that
game.
type of we're not seeing that type of level of like really picking on Josh Norman. So I think until you see that, I don't think you have to, make that switch. But you start really dogging them, then yeah, you make the switch with the young guy.
Yep, I just looked it up. I can't confirm. It was Steve Bono who had that bootleg run for 76 yards. At the time, the longest quarterback run in NFL history, which has been broken numerous times now with all the running quarterbacks. Cap had, I think, a couple of 90-yarders.
90-yard, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, how long was that run when he fell by himself?
Oh, yeah. He didn't get in, huh?
No. Sneaky athletic.
That was pretty long. Yeah, that was like, I think 80 yards or something like that.
It was a long run.
We got some folks showing up in Seattle for next week's game.
If I weren't, like, I have to fly my whole family back home, and I'm dreading it. Like, I just don't want to do it. I just know it's going to be so expensive. But if I wasn't, I would definitely take off to like a 49ers versus Seahawks game and just go by myself and like just take that in. I want to go to one of those games.
That would be fun. Yeah,
Be in the
it's fun to
presence
see
of
the
the
different
12s.
environments for different. I've been on baseball stadium tours, but I haven't been to very many football stadiums.
We got to do that, man. We got to go podcast from the hotel. We get a hotel room together. We got to set that up, man. We got to set that up, Peacock.
I like it. We definitely have to do that. Maybe. I wonder if there's something on the schedule. Let's look at the schedule a little bit and see what looks good for that sort of an event. If we did it this year,
Rams late, and I know there's going to be a lot of Niner fans there. Got the Rams in LA, so you let me
Rams,
know. I'm down. I'll
that's
get
week
my
18.
ticket.
That'd be a good one. At Tennessee and at Cincinnati and then at Seattle. That's it for the road games left. There's 4 road games left in the season, 2 home games left on the season. At Seattle, at Cincinnati. The Cincinnati one could be interesting. I think they have a pretty good fan base there. I don't know about,
and they have a nice little. I've been to Cincinnati. I played a game out there. They got the basketball. No, I'm thinking of Cleveland. My bad. I'm thinking of Cleveland.
Oh, come on. Ohio.
I don't think I've been to Cincinnati.
Ohioans got to be mad at Croc right now.
Hey, real quick, before we continue, make sure if you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We got a lot of good, our loyal listeners. We're trying to crack 1,000 subscribers. It's really weird. I was keeping track of it while we were recording, and I thought I saw it at 999 subscribers, and then it went down to 985. So if 15 of you are not subscribed in here, hit that subscribe button right now. Get us to 1,000. That was our goal. 1 week. We've only been at this for 1 week. We started last Sunday.
The YouTube channel is not, it's a week old in 2 hours, I think, because we recorded late, right? We recorded after the night game. So yeah, it's not even a week old yet. We got 2 more hours to get those last 15 or so subscribers. So help us out. Hit that subscribe button, folks. And you can also hit the thumbs up, which is always good. Lets people know it's a good podcast to listen to. And something I'd never really done. I always hear people, and I would watch other YouTube shows, and they would say, hit the bell. I had never really hit the bell in my life until about a month ago. And I hit the bell. And if it's a podcast or a YouTube channel you want to see, it's awesome when you hit the bell because it lets you know. Otherwise, you just kind of roll on to YouTube and you're like, oh, there's a thing up. But it lets you know. You get that notification with the bell, too. So that way you get it first thing when we either go live and you didn't know about it or we just post a new podcast.
Our guy was Aphrodisiac. Says 15 people unsubscribed because Croc's take on Josh Norman. You might be right, man. It was right about that time.
But guess what? If Demo was out there and Norman was sitting, Croc would defend Demo and say that Norman shouldn't play. Which is it, Croc? Come on. You always defend the guys that are playing. You always defending the guys that are out there. It's like this secret defensive back brotherhood.
I just think it could be worse. I think that's my thing. Like, I know it can be worse.
It's
so
not
when
Brian
I look at Josh
Allen,
Norman or even Deommodore Lenoir with how he was playing, and even then, while watching Deommodore Lenoir, I was like, he is a guy I think he's more profile as a nickel, right? I said that, right? I was worried about a certain aspect of his game. But with Josh Norman, it's like, man, I watch football. All I do is watch football. I see what's out there in the NFL. It's like, it could be worse than what we're getting from Josh Norman right now.
It absolutely. We've seen it worse, and we've seen it recently worse. That was one of the worst coaching decisions the 49ers have made in a while, was Brian Allen taking him off the street and putting him in the game instead of, who was it? Because someone should have obviously been playing.
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon
was
yeah.
There was some kind of, what they were saying, like some kind of injury, but Witherspoon was ready to go, right?
He had a uniform on, ended up playing in that game, but they started this dude off the street who was awful.
So from what I've been told, Witherspoon was ready to go and he wanted to play and he was willing to start and all that. And it was Kyle Shanahan's decision for him not to play in the game. That's what I was told. Kyle Shanahan, his whole doghouse thing, he had Spoon in the doghouse. And at that time, I don't even think it was a time where like Witherspoon was like playing bad. Witherspoon, he had his up and down moments. This wasn't a moment where he was down, but for whatever reason, whatever happened, Kyle was like, don't play him. And was, I guess, throwing a fit and played some guy, Brian Allen, where they were like, get this guy the hell out the game. That was a terrible game.
Here we go, Croc. He did bet it, and he won $1,000 betting the under on Kirk Cousins' yards. And thank God you didn't use our advice to go under on the score either, because they flew past that score in the second half. But, man, putting big money on Kirk Cousins not getting to his 269 yards or whatever it was.
Peacock and I need 10% of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Either 10% of that, or you got to find us 10 subscribers right now.
Right.
Norman or Witherspoon, Croc?
I'm going with Norman, because at least Norman takes the ball away. Or at least forces opportunities to take the ball away.
Witherspoon's so hit or miss, too. He would have a game, you think, there's something there. And then he would kind of wilt at other times. You're like, what are you doing, man? Where are you? I don't think he was ever mentally really focused. And that was tough. And that's really kind of the thing that dogged him all the way back to Colorado. And then you saw him go to the Seahawks, and it was like, oh, no, one of those things where the Seahawks get more out of the guy than the Niners did. And then they cut his ass loose. I don't even know where he is right now.
I guess he started against for Pittsburgh against the Chargers.
Okay. Well, if he got toasted if he started
today. That was terrible. Golly.
That'd be bad. Those Bengals, man, they could look. If there's a game, Joe Burrow, he'll throw it up to his receivers. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is so good going up to get the ball.
You see that touchdown by T. Higgins down the right sideline?
Yeah.
Oh, he just destroyed whoever number 22 is. Hopefully it's not Witherspoon, because that was bad.
That might.
We got to see what number Spoon is.
Here we go.
Oh, he sent us the tweet about him winning the money?
No, this is somebody else's tweet. You got to send it in the chat, man. I'm not on Twitter right now. Hold on. What kind of... This better be a fire tweet if I'm going to go look for it. I don't know. I can't find it. I'm in the chat right now. Here we go. Injury update. What do we got? Hopefully not too banged up to get our redemption on Seattle. I'm not even worried about Greenlaw. I think Alshire is better. I would like to have Greenlaw available, and he's made some big plays for the 49ers, but I think Greenlaw, it's funny because if you ask somebody, what is this? Is this the fire tweet? Hold on. Okay. But anyway, finish the point on Greenlaw. If you ask somebody, I saw people talking about how underrated Greenlaw is, and I actually feel like he's kind of overrated. He's not a bad player, but I think Alshire is better. I would start Alshire over Greenlaw all day. And, when you're in your base, you can have them all in the field. But I don't know. Greenlaw's okay. He's fine. But sometimes he's a liability against the run. And sometimes he makes a big play, but sometimes he makes huge mistakes. So I don't know. I'm not as big on Greenlaw as some people are, I guess.
Listen to this. So our guy that was just tweeting us about winning the $1,000. So he won it on Underdog Fantasy, which I'm partnered up with Underdog Fantasy. They promo code Crocky if you don't already download the app and all that. But they do these over-under props on guys. So he did 5 picks and put down $50, and it was to win $1,000. And he hit on the under with Kirk Cousins passing yards, the under for Najee Harris's total yards receiving and rushing, the under for Dalvin Cook, the under for Emmanuel Sanders, and he just went with the under on everybody, and he hit for $1,000. That's what's up. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky.
Oh, man. Fantasy. I'm getting my butt kicked in fantasy football this year. It's pretty bad. My teams are all terrible. Okay, I think I might have to. Is this the tweet we're talking about? I think we might have to end with this. I don't even know what this means or what this is, but it's funny.
So people, I know what you're talking about. The one where you say,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell my
Yeah.
kids this is Peacock and Croc. So
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
times, people take like a random kind of like a random picture of two people that could possibly be other people, and they'll say like, I'm gonna say that this is Michael Jordan and Pippen, and it'd be like, two other
Okay.
guys that are clearly not Michael Jordan and Pippen.
I follow. But I don't
Yeah.
know. It would make more sense if they were famous people. I don't know if I'm supposed to know who these people are.
Okay. Yeah. Now there you have a
Mom's
point.
whiskey. It's just a random mom drinking whiskey YouTube video. Someone else's. Why? First of all, why are you on YouTube and not watching this live stream? Is what I want to know.
And we're 3 subscribers away from 1,000.
Are we?
Three
Okay.
subscribers away. Let's go.
3 of y'all gotta hit subscribe and let us know you did it, so we know we're over 1,000. We can get out here. We can go celebrate Victory Sunday night, Victory Monday, and then we'll talk to y'all tomorrow at some point. What is your take on the rest of the season? The rest of the season is a breeze, man. The Niners are going to beat down the Seahawks. Although this is honestly the Seahawks game worries me probably as much as any game left on the schedule for the 49ers right now. The Seahawks next week. It's always tough in Seattle. I feel like there's just some weird magic thing there. And sometimes with familiar division opponents, you can throw the records out and things can get turned on its ear pretty easily. But I still feel good. And the Niners are clearly a better team right now than the Seahawks are. Man, the Bengals offense is legit. The Bengals defense is terrible, though. So it might be a game that looks similar to what we saw in this game with the Vikings. Trace Hendricks is playing some really good ball at defensive end for the Bengals, but the back end, I'm not too into it. I think the 49ers can put up some points. That might be a game, depending on what the over-under is, might look like one of those overs, and I feel like it could be a similar game to what we saw here with the Vikings. Falcons are god-awful. If the 49ers lose to the Falcons, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Titans on the road, that's a tough game. AFC opponent. That will be probably a grinded out type of a game. That's just the type of game that the Titans like to play. The Niners better blow out the Texans at home. Then it's the Rams. 5 more? Wait, how many wins the Niners need? 4 more wins? We talked about this week. They need
officially at 1,000 subscribers. We are officially at 1,000 subscribers. We got to do like a giveaway or something, man. Woo! Shout out to everybody. Y'all came through. Our goal was 1,000 subscribers in 1 week, and you guys got us there. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's
Shout
fantastic.
out to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
Appreciate it, folks. That's awesome.
That's got to be a Locked On Network like record, like fastest to 1,000 subscribers.
There's no chance that is not a record, Croc. We're always setting records here for the Locked On Podcast Network with this podcast. I love it. I love it. Fantastic. Thank you all, everybody. Free work. Oh, here we go. Free workout plan from Croc. I need that, to be honest with you.
So I need that right now.
For an out-of-shape football fan that's been spending too much time on the couch eating bad food for like the entire fall season.
Yeah. Real quick, we got to figure out a game, Peacock. You let me know. You want to go to a game? I'll go. And we can, I know our guy, why am I blinking on his name right now? Gosh. Oh, John Chapman. Excuse me. John Chapman. John Chapman does like these things on the road, and he's doing one in LA. So you won't go to the LA game, man. You got to let me know, and I'll head out there. I'll go to the LA game. He does like this thing where all the 49er fans get together. It's pretty awesome. They buy you a bunch of shots and all kind of cool stuff. So it's it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, LA would be I think LA would be, to be honest with you, I think of all the games left on the schedule, because I've been to LA a bunch of times, I think going to Nashville, that's a fun city. Spend some time there. Go to the Titans game. I think that'd be a pretty good game. I think that would be a pretty fun one. If I was to circle one, problem is it's 2 days before Christmas.
Oh, see, no, I'll be in California. That's
where travel with family and just
I'll be in Cali.
Expense. Yeah, so maybe not. So I think week 18 with the Rams is probably the most likely. It's too soon for me to get anything going for Cincinnati, although that would be cool to see. Cincinnati might be the one and only time I ever go to Cincinnati because I don't ever have a reason to go there.
Well, I'm going to the Ram game regardless. So if
Are you?
you
Oh,
if you go, yeah, I'm
oh,
going.
it's on then.
On like Donkey Kong. And they're gonna have the invasion. There we go. My guy Eddie says it's called the invasion. That's what it is, man. It's pretty cool. Nice little setup that our guy John Chapman does. It was really fun last time. So
Oh, you know what, Croc? We haven't talked about this at all. We'll tackle it on the next podcast. But when I saw the report from Ian Rappaport about the 49ers planning to play Trey Lance in 2022 and trade Jimmy Garoppolo, I saw that and I thought, no S. Of course, that's the plan, right? That's all. That's all the plan has ever been. That's what we've always talked about. They keep saying 2022, maybe Jimmy will be back. It's like, no, dude, you can't bring Jimmy back. You just traded for this young kid at quarterback, and you probably got to try to find a way to play him this year. Like the Niners need to do something where they clinch. What about that? What if they clinch in time to where the Week 18 doesn't matter, and we see Trey Lance get the start in Los Angeles and still go beat the Rams with Trey Lance? Give you a little glimpse of the future. That'd be kind of fun.
think there is a scenario where that happens, and that would be kind of taking on the Kansas City Chiefs and what they did, right, with Patrick Mahomes, where they couldn't move up. I think they went 10-6 that year, but they were kind of locked into their playoff spot, and they were like, all right, go get him, Patrick Mahomes, and he got to start. And it wasn't like this great game from Patrick Mahomes, but it was just good, like just to see it and get that experience for a full game. And obviously, we've seen one game from Trey Lance, but I think, getting him some more action, that'll be cool. So hopefully it is Week 18, and that's a game we go to, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired of watching Jimmy Garoppolo live.
Yeah, everybody knows except for Croc that DBs can't tackle and they can't catch. Well, corners can't tackle and all DBs can't catch. That's why they play defense. So if you want to hear some more about that, check out Croc's Hawk TV. It's rebranded Frontline Sports Media, right, Croc?
Yeah.
Yeah, you find Croc's YouTube channel. He still talks 49ers over there, but talks about everything else going on in the NFL and all kinds of stuff, and it's a fun time. You can find Croc at Locked On NFL Draft. You can find me doing the Peacock and Williamson NFL show, talking about the entire league with former NFL scout, former ESPN scribe Matt Williamson. We're doing that daily right here on the network. And, of course, thank you all for subscribing so much to the YouTube channel. We're at 1,000 subscribers. I'm pumped. We really appreciate all of you guys, and I know a lot of you are listeners on the audio pod as well. So we'll talk to you there as we do every day right here, Locked On 49ers.